Take a look at this watercolor. What if I told you the Henderson man who created these never picked up a paintbrush until after he was diagnosed with a particularly insidious form of dementia? Only after Beecher Trial's diagnosis did this talent for painting surface. His story and others have doctors rethinking the way they treat Alzheimer's and other types of dementia.
He came home and he said, "I went to speak tonight, but the words wouldn't come out."
There had been signs before that night that something wasn't quite right with Beecher Trail. A gregarious man who enjoyed wearing tie-dye shirts was slowly withdrawing from family and his wife Nancy. Then in September of 2013 came the diagnosis.
That's when they determined that he had FTD. So then it just went downhill from there.
FTD, frontotemporal dementia, a disease that was robbing Beecher's personality and his ability to work and communicate.
Can you say something to me? Huh? I love you too. That was good reading.
Once he got sick, he was this gentle soul. He was like this child, you know, just trying to find love and happiness in each day.
And then came an awakening of sorts. Nancy brought Beecher to her watercolor class near their Henderson home. It was like a light turned on for this Vietnam veteran who never before painted.
He just got excited about it. And then when we would critique him at the end of the class, he'd get up there and he would stand there like this with his arms and he'd be so proud. And then he'd take the picture and run out into the clubhouse and show everybody.
Beecher painted a lot. Bright tie-dye colors, just like his favorite t-shirts. Early on, he would set up a table at art shows. Nancy realized something special was happening.
I was amazed. And he went out to show it to somebody and actually gave it away. And I had to go and retrieve it and bring it back and say, "I'm sorry, I'm keeping this one. I'll make you a copy."
All of this from a man who never painted and was suffering a degenerative brain disorder. How?
Sometimes we see people have this creative side that never gets developed in the course of normal human development, but in this disease it sort of comes out in fascinating ways.
Doctors have identified a tiny subset of patients like Beecher whose dementia triggers this creativity, as if one part of the brain overcompensates for the areas that have gone dark.
So turn your wrists out.
At the Lou Ruvo Center for Brain Health, patients take weekly art and music classes as a form of therapy. Bill Kramer brought his wife, Renee, here after her early onset Alzheimer's diagnosis.
It was like getting my wife back for a little bit. It gave us something that we did together for a few minutes afterwards. But it was a good place. I always felt she was safe and she was getting something out of it.
Doctors say this kind of therapy is not common, but they like what they see.
We hear that from caregivers, that they seem sharper, more alert, more attentive, they are more engaged, and we think that this is because of either the music itself or the art itself or just the practice of doing something that's engaging and interesting and different from what they do on a daily basis.
I am warrior. Silence. Darkness reigns. Garage door grinds shut.
Nancy Nelson was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's 6 years ago. Like other Alzheimer's patients, sleep comes in fits. Nancy often wakes at her Summerlin home at 3 in the morning and starts writing.
In these words that come to me, there's solutions in those words, and I write them down. They made sense to me. They helped me. They helped me understand that it's okay, that it is better to help others than it is to be disgruntled and unhappy and brooding.
She published 3 books, Blue River Apple. They're poems that document her journey through frustration and anger to understanding and even hope.
Here's what I have to do, John. I have to open the dictionary, I have to look at the dictionary, or I have to go on the internet and bring that word up, and then by the time I go back to the poem, then I've lost the word, and then I have to find the word again, and then, do you see what I do? I'm on this round, but I do it. I force myself to do it. And I think that helps me.
With Alzheimer's, the caregivers suffer as much as the patients. Michael Bennett admits he underestimated what it would take to be his mom's sole caretaker. He wrote Rusty's War as a kind of therapy for him. The book tells the story of his mother's decline through the eyes of her dachshund.
It was one of those things where I was just airing out my frustrations. I was so angry, not that my mom had the disease, but there was so little, not only documentation on how to manage the disease, but there was also the financial implications. It was the combination of that and me having to provide 24-hour care and not working any longer. I was sitting around the house all day, unable to sleep because she couldn't sleep.
Go back to painting. I was taking a video of you. I'd like to watch you paint. Doing such a good job, honey.
Toward the end of his life, Beecher's diminished abilities would only let him paint pages out of a coloring book. He died 10 months after Nancy recorded this. Nancy Nelson has plans for a 4th book under the Blue River Apple title. Why that title? Those were the 3 words she could not remember in the test that revealed her Alzheimer's.
I think the books are a bridge. I think the books are an awakening. I think people don't want to look at Alzheimer's. They don't want to look at losing your memory. I get it. I don't want to look at it either. I get that. But just because we don't want to doesn't mean that we shouldn't. Stand tall, straight, and accountable again. My shoulders square, my jaw relaxes, my heart sings. I am who I want to be. I am warrior.
We have links to Lou Ruvo and other resources for people living out of state attached to this story. It's on our website, fox5vegas.com.